You don't have to question if the Sony a6300 is a good camera, cause it is. But is this camera still worth buying in 2020? That's the question that I will be answering today. So today we're gonna have a look at the Sony a6300 and I'm gonna see if I can try and answer the question whether this camera is still worth buying. Now I've had this camera for just over a year and during that time this camera has been to some pretty rough places. And one thing that I can say is that this tiny beast of a camera is built really well. The body of the a6300 is made of magnesium alloy and it's tough. I've had this camera in extreme temperatures, rainy conditions and tropical conditions all over Asia. And it's still working as good as the day I got it. The body of the a6300 is weather sealed, but you would also have to make sure to get weather sealed lenses not to damage your camera. Now all of the videos on my channel was shot using only this tiny piece of a camera, and this camera is perfect for both videos and taking pictures. The camera has a 24.2 megabyte sensor. It can shoot 4K up to 30 frames per second and can shoot 120 frames per second in HD. This is an APS-C sensor camera, so it's not full frame. It has a continuous shooting rate of 11 frames per second and only weighs 404 grams. Meaning that it's compact and light. So all in all, spec-wise, this is a super nice camera. Taking a look at a newer model like the a6400 and a6600, it has not changed that much. Both of these cameras use the same sensors and the specs are almost identical. The biggest difference between the newer models is that they have flip-out screens, better autofocus and in-body stabilization. But those are all minor things if you get to your price comparisons. So the a6300 does have a flip-out screen, but it does not go all the way up or out. So you won't be able to see yourself when vlogging or filming yourself. The brightness on the LCD screen is not that great when filming in 4K, but at least you get a very nice viewfinder. So like I've said before, the body on this camera is super compact and you would even be able to fit it in your pocket if needed to. The body is built well, it's dust and moisture proof, just don't go swimming with it. So at the time of shooting this video, the Sony a6300 is 4 years old. And the question is this camera still worth buying? Will I recommend this camera? And the answer to that question is yes, 100% yes. Especially if you're a beginner content creator or a beginner in photography. And if you create content and make YouTube videos for a living, then this would be the perfect B camera to have on a gimbal or on a tripod in your studio. The reason why I would recommend this camera is that it's simply that it's still a good camera, and for a camera this good it's pretty cheap to buy. You can get it used for not a lot of money and brand new it's still super cheap. And if you're a beginner you don't always need the best things when starting out. And if you want to, you can go back and watch all of the videos on my channel. They were all created using only this camera. I still only use this camera since honestly there's no need for me to upgrade. The only upgrades for me would be to buy new lenses, and those last even longer than a camera. And those lenses would even be more expensive than the body of this camera. But again, there's just no need for me to upgrade. Sure, there are loads of newer and better cameras in the market. And I'm not saying that the a6300 is the best and only camera that you would ever need. But for me and for many beginners out there, this camera can't be beaten for the price that you are going to be paying. So that's my conclusion from day one when I got this camera. It shined and again it's super cheap. The quality of the 4K is really good and it can shoot up to 120 frames per second in HD. Sure, it does not have all the bells and whistles of the newer models out there, but honestly the newer upgrades aren't gonna make your footage any better. Now as a bonus, let's go have a look at some of the footage I took with this camera as a final decision to go out and get this amazing beast of a camera. Now I hope this video was helpful to some of you in deciding which camera to get in 2020. Please remember to like and subscribe if you like this type of comment and leave your comments down below. Remember, stay creative.